Welcome to This Explainer. I am super thrilled you're joining us because today we are going to completely shatter one of the most persistent tech myths out there. Think about it. How many times have you formatted a hard drive thinking you're giving your PC a completely fresh start? A clean slate, right? Well, as we dig into This Explainer today, we're going to uncover a pretty stark reality. Beneath your operating system lies this unchangeable, absolutely immutable hardware layer. It turns out that your physical components literally have permanent digital fingerprints etched right into them, and it does not matter how many times you format that drive. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our roadmap for the digital autopsy we are about to perform on your machine. First, we'll look at the immutable hardware core. Then firmware identifiers in silicon. Third, core hardware, specifically drives and GPUs. Fourth, CHIDs, which is your daily hardware fingerprint. And finally, MAC addresses and network leaks. Let's get right to it.
Section 1. The immutable hardware core.
So to really understand hardware fingerprinting, we first need to separate the temporary from the permanent. On one side of the ring, we have software identifiers. These are things like registry keys, machine GUIDs, and cloud-assigned IDs. And sure, they track you, but they can be changed, rotated, or spoofed if you kind of know your way around the registry. But on the other side, hardware identifiers. And this is the harsh reality right here. These cannot be changed without physically replacing the actual components inside your computer, or I guess running your entire operating system inside a virtual machine. Basically, software is fluid, but hardware is rock solid. Now, what's really interesting about this breakdown is when you look at the survival rate of these identifiers. If you check out the firmware and hardware identifiers, things like the SMBIOS UUID, the TPM EKPub, and the CPU ID, look at that survival column. They all survive a full OS reinstall. And are they changeable? Not at all. None. Zero. But in stark contrast, when you look at the software layer identifiers like the machine guide, they absolutely do not survive a full wipe, and they are completely changeable. So the hardware layer forms this immutable core of a device fingerprint. And the crazy part, any application or service with kernel access can read them without you ever even knowing it. Section 2. Firmware identifiers in silicon.
First up is the SMBIOS UUID. You can basically think of this as your motherboard's literal birth certificate. It is a highly unique identifier burned straight into the motherboard's firmware right during manufacturing. So it doesn't matter if you replace your hard drive, completely nuke your registry, or install a brand new operating system from scratch, this birth certificate remains exactly the same, and it uniquely identifies your specific motherboard to any software running on top of it.
Next, we have the TPM 2.0 endorsement key, or EKPub for short. Picture this as a permanent cryptographic vault. This key is physically burned into the trusted platform module chip at the factory. It's mainly used for device attestation, which is essentially just a fancy way of proving to enterprise systems that your computer is exactly the physical machine it claims to be. And here is the real kicker. Because it is physically burned into the silicon itself, it absolutely cannot be changed without replacing the entire TPM chip, which usually means throwing out and replacing your whole motherboard.
Section 3. Core hardware. Drives and GPUs.
Moving up from the motherboard, your core components are heavily identifiable all on their own. For example, your CPU ID reveals your exact processor model and its specific feature flags, and it doesn't even need elevated system privileges to do that. Then there's the disk firmware serial. Now this is a beautiful illusion we almost all fall for. We think formatting a hard drive wipes its identity. It totally doesn't. The serial number is actually embedded in the drive's controller firmware, not on the physical storage medium itself. So even a hyper-paranoid zero-write wipe leaves that firmware serial perfectly intact. We also have your GPU UUID and even your monitor's EDID, which perfectly identifies the specific display hardware you are staring at right now. And when you put those last two together, things get quietly, wonderfully creepy. Combining a GPU UID with your monitor EDID creates a highly unique, permanent hardware fingerprint. Why does this matter? Well, because Windows, and essentially any DirectX application, can read these specific combinations without requiring any special administrative privileges whatsoever. So any random game or graphic software you boot up can quietly create a high-entropy fingerprint of your exact visual setup, effectively tying your identity to the physical monitor sitting right there on your desk. Crazy, right?
Let's move to Section 4 and see how this all builds up. CHIDs, your daily hardware fingerprint.
So CIDs, or Computer Hardware IDs, these are a set of identifiers generated fresh on every single boot. Windows actually computes a SHA-1 hash over specific combinations of your firmware fields to create them.
What makes CIDs so incredibly powerful, and honestly so hard to spoof, is that they are never ever stored persistently on your hard drive. There's no sneaky registry key you can just go in and delete to make them go away. Windows synthesizes this fingerprint fresh every single time your PC boots up, pulling straight from that immutable hardware layer underneath. To create this fingerprint, Windows essentially takes a whole stack of ingredients. We're talking about your hardware manufacturer, the family, the product name, the specific SKU number, your BIOS vendor and version, and even your enclosure type. It mixes these exact fields together in different combinations to uniquely identify your specific hardware configuration. It basically creates this hierarchy of fingerprints, ranging from the most specific, identifying your exact individual machine, all the way down to the broader model type.
So, why does Windows actually do this? Well, there are three main reasons. First is driver distribution. Windows Update uses CHID matching to ensure the exact right driver package reaches your specific hardware. Makes sense? Second is OEM customization, which allows manufacturers to deliver highly specific firmware updates. And third is enterprise hardware inventory, which lets IT departments track device models across a network. But notice what is missing here entirely: an opt-out button. There is zero user-accessible control to turn this process off, purely because it relies entirely on unchangeable firmware data.
But wait, how does this actually track you across networks? We've talked entirely about what's safely tucked inside the box, right? The birth certificates, the silicon, the generated hashes. But how does this internal identity leap out of your computer and track you as you move through the world? From your home network to the local coffee shop.
Section 5. MAC addresses and network leaks.
So, the crucial point is this. Every single network adapter has a MAC address, which identifies the hardware manufacturer and the specific device itself. When you connect to a network, your MAC address is sent in completely plain text to every DHCP server out there. It is logged by routers, it's logged by ISPs, and network monitoring systems. This means that even if you don't have a static IP address, your unique physical device can be easily, seamlessly correlated and tracked as you move from network to network. Now, you might be thinking, but my operating system randomizes my MAC address for privacy. Well, let's dismantle that comforting little thought for a second. While Windows absolutely does support Wi-Fi randomization, it's actually turned off by default on most adapters. You literally have to manually dig into your per-network settings to turn it on. And if you use wired Ethernet, Windows settings do not support randomization for Ethernet at all. Zero. You are broadcasting your true, baked-in hardware address unless you go out of your way to manually override it.
And even if you do spoof your MAC address, the realities just aren't perfect. While you can override your MAC via the network address registry key, a randomized Wi-Fi MAC is completely stable for the duration of a session. Once you connect at a coffee shop or an airport, that randomized MAC tracks everything you do for that entire session. Furthermore, if you use a VPN, those virtual adapters often expose their own consistent MAC addresses, which can easily be identified by their specific manufacturer. And this brilliantly illustrates our ultimate takeaway from today's explainer. Hardware layer identifiers cannot be changed without physically replacing components or running inside of our tool machine. Software privacy settings, registry tweaks, desperately wiping your hard drive, literally none of it touches the immutable core of your machine. True hardware privacy on Windows is simply impossible without a physical screwdriver or running inside of a virtualized environment. So the next time you connect to a public network, ask yourself, just how visible is the silicon beneath your keyboard? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning your digital footprint.